Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here in the Fuzzy Biker Garage. We are going to have a 2,500 mile review on my Royal Enfield Bear 650 right there. Got just about 2,500 miles on that hot rod. Took it out for a 577 mile day ride the other day. I'm pretty proud of myself. And the bike did fabulous. So what is the Bear? The Bear is Royal Enfield's, I guess I'm going to call it the funnest motorcycle they make right now. I have that Himalayan over there. That's a fabulous motorcycle in its own right, but I consider this the funnest one to ride at this point. So it's a 650 parallel twin, air-cooled, oil-cooled, single overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, 47 horsepower, about 42 foot-pounds of torque. I think that's 57 newton meters, 6-speed transmission, 57.5-inch wheelbase, 1,460 millimeters, I believe that is. About 3.6 gallon gas tank. I think that's about 15 liters, somewhere in there. I'll put that on the screen. Loads of fun to ride. Just all kinds of entertaining. Very smooth engine. I think that's one of its prime characteristics. It's very smooth, good power. Very, very good looking motorcycle. This is the Eddie Mulder special. It's the 249. That was his number. They had a big race in California back in the day, and that was his number. He won that race. The green frame on this particular model is Royal Enfield used to use green frames on the racing motorcycles. The checkerboarding, that's an Eddie Mulder touch right there. Look at that, isn't that neat? I got bugs all over this because, like I said, I did my 577 mile day ride the other day, and the bike got some dirt on it finally. It's got a 19-inch front tire. I think it's a 17, okay, it's a 140/80 17 on the rear. On the front, it's a 110/90, yeah, 110/90 19. So the standard interceptor is 18 and 18. So this has got a 19 on the front. It's got the inverted fork with 5.1 inches of travel. That's about 130 millimeters. For a brake, it's got a 320 disc right there with a dual piston barber caliper. Very good brakes, very good suspension, showy suspension on the front. Just a beautiful thing. This right here is just wow. LED headlight, turn signals, tail, everything's, it's just all LED. I've added these Royal Enfield mirrors. Look at all the bugs I hit. Added this screen. Oh, anyway, what fun it is, On the back in stock form, it would have 4.4 inches of travel. I think that's 109 or 115 millimeters, something like that. I have put these YSS shocks on the back. There's a story that goes with that. We'll try to get into that. Got a 270 disc on the rear with a single piston Barbary caliper. The wheels are aluminum, by the way. They're spokes, but they're aluminum. Tube tires, of course. These are MRF tires. So I have never had MRF tires before. So far, I've got good things to say about them. We'll see how they wear. We'll see how that goes out. Let's look at the back one here. Yeah, 2,500 miles, not too bad, I'd say. I got asked if I was going to change the tires the other day. And my response is the same as always. I'll wear these out, then you betcha I'll change them. Will I put these back on? If I'm happy with them, I will. The bike weighs about 478 pounds. I think that's 217 kilograms, something like that. And I'll put the seat height down below right now. I've done some add-ons to this motorcycle. Let's just start at the front. I put TPMS sensors for tire pressure monitoring. I use that through my phone because I didn't want to put a sensor on the dash. I've added this windscreen, this little fly screen right there to catch the bugs. I don't mean to gross you out, but that's what I got. I added these mirrors because they're so smooth. I just love those things. Also put on Baxter Cycle put this guard right there, this foam thing right there, really cool looking. And then I covered it up with this Rhino Walk bag, and I can use that. I can put my phone in there. There's a USB-C charger right there, so I can put my phone in there. And I use that, I hook my phone up, and I use that on this 577 mile trip to use my nav system on here, kind of with mixed results. Most of the time it worked okay, but it would just shut off. Well, I'd stop to get gas and I couldn't get it turned back on. And the next stop it would turn back on. So I have to figure out what's going on with that. I've used the same thing with that motorcycle with great success. And it's cumbersome in that you have to use your phone. I do like this TFT. Look at this thing. I think it's about 5 inches. It's a TFT, tack on the outside. Fuel gauge right here. Apparently I'm out of fuel. Gear indicator in the center, speedometer over here, clock, odometer down here, and then using the joystick right here, down below you get trip 1, trip 2, Fuel range, 13 miles. Voltage, service due, and I think that's it on this one. There are other options that go on there, but I deleted them. I don't want them. I think like fuel consumption and stuff like that. Running over here, it's got these really cool levers, and I think I first saw these in the classic 350 over there. They weren't adjustable like these are, but they've got the big, you know, the nice swooping dog leg right here. They're thin here, they're wide here. They've got this nifty radius top and bottom, and they work really well with these grips. I love barrel-shaped grips, and they give you a lot of feel, you know. These are metal right here, and home button right back here for this. Flash to pass, low beam, high beam, blinkers, horn, joystick to run that. Over here is the kill switch, the run switch, and then you rock it like this, and that starts the bike. Hazard lights right there. Again, adjustable for the brake, adjustable for the clutch. Isn't that pretty? Except for the bug guts. I did add these knee pads right here. Moving along, I guess I was talking about that, wasn't I? Did this for heated jacket so I can wear my First Star jacket. Added this. So I bought this for that bike, and I set it on the back of this bike for a minute, and I thought, wow, that actually looks really good. On this 577 mile trip, that was actually going to be a camping trip. Had all my camping gear and clothes and everything in that bag. That's a Royal Enfield bag that I added also. I only did it on one side because I was worried about the pipe, and the other side I also didn't want to ruin the look of the bike. But anyway, on that trip, I also loaded this thing up, but look at this. You do this, and the thing expands. It grows taller. And that was really handy on the trip because I just packed this thing down with all kinds of stuff. I think this was in here actually, but you know, so there's loads of room in here. I like this a lot. I can put my gloves in there. I think on the trip I had 3 pairs of gloves in there and 2 pairs in there and one that I was wearing. And I like to keep those things handy. In here I've got like my Tylenol and stuff like that and whatever on that side. And then again, I put this bag on the side where we talked about that. That slides back and forth on a rack. Let's see, what else have I added? It's been a great bike. I love these knee pads. I did add that. So things about the bike that I learned. So I rode a lot of 100-mile trips on it, and it was a fun bike. You know, I was calling it my Sunday afternoon bike, and this and that and the other thing, and because of weather and other things, I just hadn't had time to take it on a long ride, and I was really wanting to take it on a long ride. So I thought, well, I'll drive across I'll go down to Missouri, and I'll drive across Missouri, and I'll get a camp spot somewhere on the east coast of Iowa, Missouri, and see what we can learn. I left here, I went straight roads all the way down to Missouri, just absolutely boring. The bike handles, well, and it's comfortable enough and all that neat stuff, but got to Missouri, got into, I think it was 136. That road's, at that point, it was the start of the curvy, uppy, downy. Started having fun, got on the other side of the interstate, east side of Interstate I-35. The roads really got scenic, they got curvy, they got just a lot more exciting. And the bike, I just started falling in love with the ride. I just started falling in love with the performance, the smoothness. It was very smooth. It would left and right and braked well, and it just did everything so well. And to top it off, I'm going to add to this the seat. The first 100 miles, this seat it's thin through here, and it's got these kind of cutouts for your legs. And in the first 100 miles, it takes a while to get used to that. So after the first 100 miles, it got actually very comfortable. And I said 577 miles total. I was well into the 400s before I started getting uncomfortable again. And that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good for a stock motorcycle seat. I can say I was happy with that. Would I ride this? I'm going to go to, we're going to do Route 66 on that bike here pretty quick. Could I do that on this? And I could. So I got a little list here. This is a great 2-lane king, I would say. It's absolutely fabulous on the 2-lane blacktop. Could it tour? Could I do touring with it? And yes, you could do touring on this bike. You might want to put, take this off, maybe put a duffel bag on the back, but you would definitely want a windshield for bug protection and for weather protection. So I didn't camp because there was rain. It started to rain. I had a meeting the next day with the Ibex. Go watch that video. And I was going to camp over by Fremont, and I started riding that way because I didn't want to quit riding when I got to Keokuk, Iowa on the East Coast. I kept riding home, and the ground was wet, and there was rain, and so I ended up home that night. And had I got caught in the rain, I definitely would have wanted a windshield, So if you're going to tour with this, I would want a windshield, a decent windshield. I'm not going to put that on this bike because I don't want that for this bike. I've got other bikes with windshield, but if I were to use this for touring, that's what I would do. I do want for this bike, if they ever make handguards, specific to this motorcycle. And I don't want to put bark busters on there, but if Royal Enfield made a product for this, designed for this, I would put those on. And then a comfort seat. So they do make a comfort seat for this. I was talking to Baxter about that. One of y'all had mentioned that before in the comments, and I appreciate that. So I talked to Baxter's about that the other day after the ride, the long ride. And they said, yeah, we got one. It's the wrong color. It's brown. I think it's brown. So they don't make it in this color. And I don't know that I want a brown seat on this bike. This bike is, to my eye, very good looking the way it is. And I just don't want to add a different color seat to it at this point. So with those add-ons, this bike would tour. So let's go back to the motorcycle itself. Let's talk about the engine. You know, Royal Enfields are notorious for having to be broke in. You know, they run okay when they're new, but they run better as they get miles on. About 700 miles, I really started noticing this thing coming to life. 1,500 miles even more. Now it's got 2,500 miles. The engine runs smoother. The transmission shifts better. The suspension works better. Now I replaced the rear ones. I think I put these on at 700 miles. So, you know, I'm getting used to the bike. You know, when a bike breaks in, half of that is the rider getting used to the motorcycle. And I think I'm getting used to this one. The bike itself, you know, the little things are working better. Everything's coming, you know, together. What have I had for problems on it? I don't think I've had any problems with it really, other than in the initial suspension I thought was rather harsh. I thought that pretty religiously. Until I took this out for a 400-mile ride. This is my 97 Sportster. And I did 400 miles on this in a couple days. And if you want to talk about a hard suspension, ride one of those. So it's actually a pretty good suspension stock. It's just that it needed something more, and I did the YSS. I've got the YSS on this bike, and I just love them. So now I've got it on this. It's a very good ad for the cost, you know. Let's kind of check this thing out. You can get a sump guard. You can get a headlight cover. I suppose I could add heated grips if I wanted to travel with it. I already mentioned the seat. I'm pretty happy with the bike overall. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So 2,500 miles, I'm going to give it the old fuzzy biker okie dokie. How's that sound? Now, if y'all are interested in a motorcycle like this, or you know, Royal Enfield, Triumph, I got one around here somewhere back in that corner. Classic motorbike of any type, you know, classic British motorcycle. Need parts, accessories, thingamajigs, doodads, anything at all. Helmets, jackets, gloves, boots, socks, underwear. Get yourself over to Baxter Cycle in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa, or go to baxtercycle.com. Tell those fine folks that Fuzzy, that's me, sent you. Hit like and subscribe. Life is good. Get yourself out there and ride, my friends. Wahoo! 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 Wahoo!